Goodell, who says nobody's moving to Los Angeles for the 2015 season. That's what the man said, not me. Giants take care of the Rams 37-27. Steelers get into the playoffs 20-12 over the Chiefs. Ben Roethlisberger with yet another 30-touchdown season. A win next week against Cincinnati. And dare I say, Pittsburgh's back atop of the AFC North. Who'd have thunk it? Patriots survive a scare from the Jets. 17-16. Well, I'll tell you, Rex Ryan is making a statement on his way out of New York. Packers clinch a playoff spot 20-3 over the Buccaneers. Could have come with a price, as Aaron Rodgers may be nursing a strained hamstring. Lions just eke one out against the Bears 20-14. Jimmy Clausen played pretty good. 23 for 39, 181, and 2 touchdowns. However, it has just been brought down to us that Clausen has been concussed as of that game. So, guess what? Jay Cutler's back. I thought we were rid of him. Well, here we go again, kids. Oh, this is going to be a fun Week 17, I must say, in Chicago. Panthers stop the Browns 17-13. Panthers align themselves for the NFC South crown for next week against the Falcons. Johnny Manziel left the game with a hamstring injury in the second. Welcome back, Brian Hoyer. Texans stay alive for the playoffs. They knock off the Ravens 25-13. Now the Texans need a lot of help. We'll talk about that coming up across the next segment. Chargers top the Niners by a field goal. That final 38-35 in overtime. Chargers had to come from 21 down to win this one. One of the largest comebacks in team history. When we come back, we'll take a look at the playoff picture in the NFL, plus some other interesting things that have popped up on the wire, including Jameis Winston off the hook? Interesting. Stay tuned. Lots more to come. This is the ALR Express and only on the Sports Network.
If you are Northwest Indiana or near Michigan City, Fort, Hobart, Burns Harbor, Valparaiso, Chesterton, South Bend, or Portage, there is no comparison to the other dealers around town to Sowers Ford Lincoln in Michigan City. Get your best price on Ford trucks, Focus, F-150, Explorer, Escape, and Lincoln MKS, MKT, and more, as well as Fiesta, Fusion, Taurus, and Mustang. We welcome you to Sowers Ford Lincoln dealership in Michigan City, Northwest Indiana's newest Ford Lincoln dealer. We place the highest emphasis on our customers. We offer new and used Ford and Lincoln vehicles, parts, service, and used cars, including Focus, Fiesta, and more. For more information, drop by 3930 Franklin in Michigan City, Indiana, or visit them online at SowersAuto.com. Sowers Ford Lincoln, Northwest Indiana's newest Ford Lincoln dealer.
We're back on the ALR Express as we're coming down the home stretch here. Give me a call, 573-200-6505. Let me know what's up in your world as we get ready to close things out on this short edition of the show. This portion brought to you by our fabulous friends at Clarion of Michigan City. For reservations, 1-800-CLARION. Some interesting headlines to jump out at you. As we mentioned before the break, Jameis Winston, the former Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback from last year, he has been exonerated by the school in wake of code of conduct violations that wound up not being as such. Now, all of this is stemming from an alleged 2012 sexual assault around his apartment where he, a couple of friends, and the woman in question were at a party. The woman, again, claims that Jameis Winston was the one that sexually assaulted her. Well, for the third time in this whole case, the evidence says Jameis Winston was not the one that did it. So the Tallahassee police has cleared him. Now the school has cleared him. But the woman does have a right to appeal within 5 days. And from all accounts in the Associated Press story, it looks like she is. So Winston may be off the hook for right now, but if she appeals, here we go again. There have been some roster changes as of late. As we mentioned, Jay Cutler is back in after it found out that Jimmy Clausen was concussed. I think it was that shot to the head when Clausen made that slide in the fourth quarter. So Jay Cutler will go at it one more time, but this might be the final time for him in a Bears uniform. I mean, a lot of people are like, he need to go. Johnny Manziel has also been ruled out of Week 17. We mentioned that he had a hamstring injury that happened during the Panthers game, so it looks like it's going to be Connor Shaw that will get the call for next week's game against the Baltimore Ravens. And that has implications because the Ravens are trying to get into the playoffs. All they need to do is win. They're in. Not good news for Lions fans. As expected, center Dominic Raiola has been suspended for one game, and that was the stomp on the back of the leg of Bears defensive tackle Ebo Ferguson. And it is clear on tape. So that could be possibly key to Matt Stafford's fortunes in trying to get the ball down the field or even hand it off to a number of his running backs. We'll just have to see. Looks like there's another quarterback in the Arizona Cardinals arsenal that's going to pop up in the final week. Logan Thomas becomes the fifth quarterback this season for the Arizona Cardinals, who are in the playoffs. But the Cardinals are going to need some help to try and win the NFC West. If they beat the Niners and the Seahawks lose next week, then Arizona has that spot. However, if Seattle wins, all bets are off. Seattle is your NFC West champion and number one seed. How about that? Very interesting, I must say. Quick look at the rest of the NFL picture. And we don't have them up as of yet, so let's bring the standings up. Now, as we mentioned, all 6 spots in the NFC are good. That includes divisional champion Dallas, who is right now the 3 seed. Division leaders Seattle and Detroit and Carolina. And playoff qualifiers Green Bay and Arizona. All that's locked up. If Seattle wins next week, they win the number 1 spot. They win all the tiebreakers, including, and that's even if Green Bay wins against Detroit. Because remember, Seattle beat Green Bay. The best that either Carolina or Atlanta can do is win the NFC South. And somebody's going to get in with a 7-win ledger. Wow. Here we go again. That's going to be funny. Now, let's move over to the AFC, because there's 2 spots yet to be decided. The AFC North and the last wild card. The AFC North currently controlled by Cincinnati, who plays Pittsburgh this coming week. And that would be contingent upon if Cincinnati can beat the Broncos, who are trying to get a first-round bye. If Cincinnati can beat the Broncos, that will solidify their spot in the playoffs, which then makes next week's Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game the AFC North Championship. It'll be that way either or. Now, it looks like Miami is indeed out, because the only way that Miami was going to be able to leapfrog everybody was to have Buffalo win. Buffalo didn't win. So that knocks Miami out, unfortunately. So as it looks like right now, if Baltimore wins next week against Cleveland, San Diego would have to lose, because San Diego holds the tiebreaker. Baltimore wins, San Diego loses, Baltimore is in. Houston is still in this. If Houston wins and both Baltimore and San Diego lose, they sneak in the 6th spot. Let's throw in Kansas City. Now, Kansas City is already ahead of Miami. Kansas City would have to win and hope all 3 lose. Houston, Baltimore, and San Diego, for them to get that spot. So basically, the number 6 spot in the AFC is San Diego's to lose. They win, everybody else is done. Point blank. And the only other thing that would need to be decided is the AFC North champion, because both Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are in. It's just a matter of who's going to be in the wild card, who's going to be the champion. The ALR Express presented by Sowers Ford Lincoln Mercury. This portion brought to you by Strack and Van Til Grocery Stores of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. As we come into the home stretch of this edition, as we mentioned, if anything pops up during the course of the week, we'll bring in another ALR Express, but it's got to be a lot of stuff, up on and give you 10 minutes here if it it's got to be at least a half hour stuff. It's only fair to you. It is only fair to you, because that's what you jump on the ALR Express for. Miami Beach Bowl, first annual, 31-28. Memphis leads BYU. That's down at Marlins Stadium in Miami. It's the first annual. They've got about halfway the quarter to go in that contest. And finally, here's something that a lot of people in Detroit figured was going to happen. Anyway, they never thought it was going to happen this quickly. Josh Smith, who was brought to the Pistons from the Atlanta Hawks, having signed a big 4-year deal, has now been waived by the Pistons. Rumblings that we're hearing was the fact that he and Stan Van Gundy just could not mesh together at all. So Josh Smith is waived with 2 years left on his contract and at least $26 million. Now, Smith is just 29. And there are teams out there that are willing to pick him up. The question is,